Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and I know I haven't posted in a few days. I've been calling caged aggression fights, on the move. We had the premium over at Red Voice Media this week, and I'm about to hit the road again. I'm going to be over in Pennsylvania next weekend, over on the Reawaken America Tour, literally about to hit the road in less than an hour, 14-hour drive. Not really looking forward to it, but it's got to happen. I said, you know what? I've got to get this short video out because we truly live in a post-truth world. And what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to try to read these two articles start to finish as deadpan as possible, because there are certain things I can and cannot say about these two articles. But if you cannot tell what we are being primed for and what is currently occurring, I don't know how much more I can show you. And the first thing that I want to show you is apparently if we can save just one life, we're canceling football seasons. It's not just one school, by the way. Okay? So let me just read this to you start to finish. Action News 5, local station, not just one school, but many. And this is out of Bellevue, Kentucky. A high school in Kentucky says it is canceling the rest of the football season for its varsity team. On Tuesday, Bellevue High School athletic director Jim Hicks announced that the school made the decision because the team has a limited number of healthy players. You know that happens every single year. Hicks said the safety of the players at Bellevue High School is their number one priority. The athletic director shared that the school looks forward to the return of varsity football in 2023. We'll see about that. Perhaps. Maybe in a couple years. Maybe not. Bellevue High School has joined other programs that have also recently canceled their football seasons. Last month, officials at Oakmose High School in Michigan said they canceled their remaining games because of health concerns regarding players. Wow. A school district in Nebraska also made a similar decision at Lincoln Northwest High School in September. Okay. So let's start there. Now, I grew up in a very small town. I moved from Dutchess County, which, you know, the city folk, they all consider that, you know, upstate New York. It's barely above the city. But then I moved into the real country, Amish country. I graduated with like 54 kids, and even that school, okay, had a former football program where they were able to put together a team. That school. Now, they got rid of it because of safety concerns, real ones. They had a player who was paralyzed on the field in the 80s, okay? But now you're seeing a trend of multiple high schools ending their football seasons? Very bizarre. Very bizarre. Video games can potentially trigger cardiac arrest in susceptible children, study finds. It's out of Vancouver. Now, right away when I posted this morning, a lot of people pointed out, well, you have the seizure thing. Listen, the seizure thing is very real. And what is the seizure thing? Video games and certain cartoons that have flashing images have been known to induce seizures in not only children, but adults. Legitimate concern. Now, as I read this, I want people to think for a second, especially in my age group. Remember when arcades were really big in the 80s and early 90s, like packed houses? I mean, you still have the Dave & Buster's of today. You know, you could bring it to the modern era. But during that time, remember all those times you saw, you know, a child go into cardiac arrest because he got so excited at playing RoboCop or Double Dragon? Remember all those ghouls and goblins? Remember all those times? I mean, some of these games are pretty intense, the racing ones. But we're going to read this again as deadpan as I can. All right? It's a short one, folks, but an important one. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Okay, so once again, video games can potentially trigger cardiac arrest in susceptible children, study finds. All right? Playing video games could trigger a potentially fatal Let me repeat that one. I'm going to do a really deadpan again. Fatal cardiac arrest episode in children with existing heart conditions, according to an international study published this week. The study, life-threatening cardiac arrhythmia and sudden death during electronic gaming, examined 22 incidents in which children between the ages of 7 and 16 experienced an irregular heartbeat, either proven or suspected, and lost consciousness while playing video games. You know, aside from, I'm going to take a break for a second, go off on a little tangent. Aside from all those people that were just dropping dead in the arcades in the 80s and 90s, let's not forget the war between Sega and Super NES and so many casualties amongst the Sonic and Mario players. So many broken-hearted parents who would come into the living room after a Christmas where they just got that new Super NES or Genesis for their child, and they never thought it would end like this. 6 of the children suffered cardiac arrest and 4 died. This is a relatively small study, but we still found a number of cases where children who were actively engaged in video games had a very severe cardiac event, said Dr. Shubhahan Sanatani, head of cardiology at BC Children's Hospitals. There's no need for the average family to feel alarmed by the findings, Sanatani added, noting that all of the cases reviewed by researchers involved children with risk factors, and underlying heart rhythm conditions that were either known prior to the incidents or diagnosed after the fact. Oh! Diagnosed after the fact. Weird. Odd. Just, yeah, I'm sure these are all just coincidences. I mean, these conditions are thankfully rare. The most common occur in about 1 in 2,000 individuals, he told CTV News. Now, we'll see if that's increasing now that, high schools are canceling their football seasons. Children who suddenly lose consciousness while playing an intense video game should be assessed by a doctor or specialist, the researcher said. You don't say. Multiplayer games about war came up more often than any other type of video game in the cases reviewed for the study. Though Sanatani said further research would be needed to draw any direct connections to those types of media. War games such as Call of Duty series are among the most widely played across platforms, which could have skewed the findings. And I would argue they do skew the findings, right? You can have an emotional reaction that triggers a physical reaction with any video game. And when you're talking about first-person shooters and you're on teams, there's more of a feeling of camaraderie, being in the moment, right? So I don't play those games much. And when I do, I always play the campaign, really. I don't love the multiplayer gaming. I'm not an e-gamer. I like to just kind of sit back and relax and almost enjoy it like a movie. The study, which was published in the Journal of Heart Rhythm, did attribute the children's episodes to adrenogenic stimulation related to the emotionally charged electronic gaming environment. The researchers said their findings raise questions about whether gaming is a safe alternative to competitive sports for children with underlying heart conditions. Well, I mean, if you're canceling football seasons and you don't want them to play video games and you want to, stop the spread of child death, maybe we need to cancel these things. I'm going to read the very end of that, by the way, guys. But seriously, I mean, take a step back, all right, and try to use some critical thinking in these headlines that we're reading, okay? And especially what the headlines say, preparing people. Just letting you know. While competitive sport and certain high-risk activities are known to precipitate arrhythmic events in susceptible individuals, electronic gaming has not typically been included in the counseling provided to families with pro-arrhythmic diagnoses, reads the study. Sanatani stressed their research was a fairly introductory look at an apparent connection between gaming and cardiac arrhythmia that should be investigated more thoroughly. Some questions have been raised, but this is definitely an interesting early signal that we've reported, he said. So we're here, guys. We're in the post-truth world where we have to just accept that high schools are canceling football games and children are going to die from video games. That's it. Don't ask any more questions. We need to cancel football forever and stop the gaming. And I'm sure that's going to stop the sudden heart attacks in children, right? Guys, again, about to hit the road. I will be trying to post tomorrow. We'll see. Having Thomas Renz on Tuesday, but that's probably going to be a Red Voice Media exclusive. I may release like 10 minutes of it. So if you want to get involved in that, you can start for just $1. redvoicemedia.net/Jason gets you the first month. I believe the new premium my girlfriend has up, Alicia Powell, whom I love very much, is with Aubrey de Grey, one of these transhumanists. Really interesting interview that I would encourage people to check out. We just had the 9th anniversary of Shade the Motion Picture yesterday. Put it out 9 years ago yesterday. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. Please follow me on Rumble. Okay, consider buying me a coffee. These road trips are not cheap. Just had to put tires on the car. Not fun, folks. Not fun for a guy just making it. So $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. And remember, all my documentary films are free. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture. I love you guys. Not about left or right. Always about right and wrong. And look what's happening right in front of our faces. About as wrong and evil and degenerate and immoral and anti-human as it possibly